All right, let's get right into it. We usually think of AI as this single giant superbrain, right? But what if the next huge leap for artificial intelligence isn't about one mind getting smarter, but about a whole bunch of them learning how to work together as a team?
It seems like a pretty weird question, I know. But believe it or not, the answer is completely shaking up the entire field of AI. Turns out, the incredible coordinated behavior you see in simple creatures holds the secret to a much more powerful, resilient, and, frankly, adaptable kind of artificial intelligence.
So we're really watching a fundamental shift happen in real time. For decades, the main goal was to build a single, all-powerful AI, kind of like a lone genius. But that whole era is starting to fade, and it's making way for something way more dynamic, and you could argue a whole lot smarter.
And here's the big idea right here. Instead of one massive, centralized AI trying to juggle everything, we're now building collections of smaller, independent AIs that actually collaborate. This new approach is called multi-agent systems, or MAS for short, and it is a total game changer.
But you might be wondering, why do we even need this change? Well, to really get why the swarm is so powerful, you first have to understand why the old solo approach is basically hitting a wall. It turns out that one all-powerful AI, it's got some pretty serious drawbacks.
This comparison really gets to the heart of it. The old way relies on one central control point, which, and this is crucial, creates a single point of failure. If that one thing breaks, the whole system goes down. Swarm intelligence, on the other hand, is all about decentralized teamwork. It's built from the ground up to be tough, resilient, and super adaptable.
And these bottlenecks are exactly what forced this new way of thinking. Solo AIs are incredibly expensive to scale up, and they just don't do well in environments that are constantly changing. But the biggest issue, the real killer, is how fragile they are, that complete lack of robustness.
Just think about that for a second. Only one single point of failure. One little glitch, one tiny outage in that central brain, and the entire thing can grind to a halt. That is a massive, massive vulnerability, and it's precisely what the swarm model is designed to fix.
So, now that we've laid out the problems with solo AI, it's time to bring in the solution. This is where the swarm comes into the picture, all powered by these multi-agent systems.
So, what is an MAS, really? Well, it's not one big AI. It's more like a team of independent AIs, or agents as they're called. Each one has its own specific skills, but the magic happens when they talk to each other and coordinate to solve problems that would be absolutely impossible for any one of them to handle alone.
And the way it works is just incredible. It borrows these core ideas straight from nature. First, there's no boss. No single agent is in charge. Instead, you get this amazing intelligent behavior, what's called emergent behavior, that just arises from simple local interactions. And if one agent goes down, the others just adapt and keep on going.
So how does a swarm actually think? Well, first, it breaks down a huge job into little, manageable pieces and hands them out. As the agents work, they're constantly sharing information, learning from each other in real time. They coordinate what they're doing to be as efficient as possible, creating this powerful, constant loop of teamwork and adaptation. And the results? They directly solve all those weaknesses of solo AI. You see a huge jump in 3 key areas. Scalability, because hey, you can just add more agents. Robustness, because there's no single weak spot. And just overall efficiency at cracking really complex problems.
Okay, so this isn't just some cool theory stuck in a lab. It's already being used out in the real world in some truly fascinating ways. Let's take a look at where these AI swarms are already making a difference.
Yeah, the jump from theory to reality has been super fast. We're talking about tangible solutions that are changing the way entire industries work. And a great place to start is with robotics.
In robotics, this is a huge deal. Just picture a swarm of drones inspecting a massive bridge. Each one covers its own little section, and then they all combine their data to create this perfect, detailed map of the bridge's health. It's way faster, safer, and more thorough than any human team could ever hope to be.
Or think about something we all hate: traffic. A multi-agent system could coordinate thousands of self-driving cars, analyzing live data to reroute them and prevent traffic jams before they even have a chance to start. It's a massive logistical puzzle that is just perfect for a swarm to solve.
What about cybersecurity? Well, you could have a swarm of digital guard agents constantly monitoring a network. The second one of them spots something suspicious, it flags the others. They all work together to confirm if it's a real threat and then take coordinated action to shut it down almost instantly. And the list just keeps going. I mean, look at how diverse these applications are. We're seeing swarm intelligence make energy grids more efficient, change how financial trading works, and even help doctors with diagnoses. The tech is so flexible, it's making a real impact in pretty much every sector you can think of.
So what's next? The potential here is just immense, but there are definitely still some big challenges we need to figure out on the way to this fully collaborative AI future.
And it's really important to see these less as roadblocks and more as the next exciting frontier for researchers and engineers to go out and conquer.
So the big challenges are part technical, part philosophical. We absolutely need to perfect how these agents communicate and make sure the whole system is secure, especially when you're talking about millions of them. But we also have to tackle the really important ethical questions, like how much power do we give to systems that can make their own decisions?
But the really good news is that people are already working hard on all of this. Every single day, new progress is being made on better, more secure ways for these agents to work together, constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And this quote just perfectly captures the feeling in the field right now. We are truly just scratching the surface here. This whole shift from a solo AI to a swarm intelligence might just be the single most important thing to ever happen to this technology. So that kind of leaves us with one last thought to chew on. As these incredibly powerful AI teams become more and more of a reality, what's the one grand challenge? From something like climate change to curing diseases, what's the one thing you'd want them to tackle first? The possibilities are honestly extraordinary.